So, welcome to this tomato tall plant sowing video. So, I'm wearing my jacket because I'm heading out in like after I finish with this. So, but I figure because I'm going to sow the tall types of tomatoes that I will keep in a greenhouse over the summer, and it's pretty early in the season. It's January, and typically anytime I have sown like these taller types of tomatoes, I have started them in February or in March, and I think it's fully possible to do that. It will be very good result if you even wait until end of February, because you will not have super tall plants. But I have a lot of plants that I'm gonna be sowing, and I kind of want to be on the, one step ahead here. And I'm thinking that if I starting some of these tall tomatoes now, I will be able potentially cut them down and root the top shoot from the plant that I'm starting from seed and get additional plants, and I can utilize the the part that I cut down that already have clear root system to grow a very good plant. So I figure that I will get more plants that are robust if I start them now, and because I have a lot more planting to come. There is gonna be some types of, I would call them more exotic kinds of planting as well, such as guava. It's a fruit. I have passion fruit I'm gonna grow. I have myrten I'm gonna try grow, and some other stuff. And there is also gonna be quite a few summer flowers and perennials. So how I'm organizing this type of start of tomato plants, I will be explaining it to you, and I will be showing you how I do this. So I already have started these small tomato bushes that can grow in pots or in in small plastic bags. I typically don't use pots. I tend to use plastic bags from IKEA, such as the blue big plastic bags. I tend to grow quite a lot of plants in those, like tomatoes. It's also easy to move them around. I obviously starting any plant in containers, and then gradually as they get larger, the plants, I will transfer them into bigger space. But I already started those because those will provide yield like tomatoes early on in the summer, and that's what I'm fingers crossed hoping for, so that I will have a long period of being able to harvest cherry tomatoes from these small bushes. But I also have these large tall tomatoes, and I organize all the like bell peppers, aubergine seeds and tomatoes in a container like this. And what I've done before I started this video is that I took out all the seeds that I'm planning on growing in this season, and then I organized them in 3 piles. So I have one pile for the fun and mostly for using up the seeds type of pile. So in this pile I have got 3 piles, but I will start with the first. So in this pile I have the fun types of varieties. It's, for example, this tiger variegated tomato. I also have this Tiny Tim tomato. I am not a fan of this one because it grows very out of control, tall, and I don't want to have so many of this plant because I feel like I don't get that many tomatoes from it. It just tends to grow on the height. I also have another cherry tomato here that I will grow as a fun kind of plant. And then in this pile I also put something called, it's a winter tomato. So these kind of gets ripe as I take them indoor in the autumn, even if they are green, and I can leave them just to, you know, get ripe, and they might even ripe in the December, you know. So, and why I put them in the kind of fun pile is because they are bigger tomatoes. So I'm just thinking that these are going to require more nutrients to grow this big and a lot of space, and it's the same seed in both of these bags, just different brands. So they are good, but it's just the fact that they are bigger tomatoes. So I'm not gonna grow that many plants of these because it will be, you know, it will take up a lot of space. The second pile is seeds that could provide pretty good yield, but that I'm not 1000% sure they are doing really well in my area. And in this pile I have, let's see, this, I think it's some kind of, I will show you what it looks like. It's like a balcony kind of normal tomato looking fruit. And this one, I have tried grow this one a few times before. I don't have so many seeds left in here, so I just want to make sure I use up these seeds, and I don't think they do very well in my area. So, you know, this is like, I will use the seeds that are left here, but I don't expect any production and fruits from this, not like a lot. And also in this pile, I have this balcony tomato, and you can see that it kind of supposed to give yield like large clusters of tomatoes. And I think these as well, anytime if I start these later in the season, such as in March, they will not be able to ripe enough to bigger fruits or like clusters of fruits. So I think these are also like a tomato that doesn't do super well in my area. I think anytime, because I'm in a very cold zone, I think anytime here the best forms of tomatoes are the short, small bushes of tomatoes that grow a lot of small cherry tomatoes, and that I can harvest even if they are green and let them ripe indoor to red or orange color. But I still will use this one, but I think it's very important that I start in this one early in the season. And I will not have so many plants of this, because with this and this variety I need to kind of probably remove a lot of the leaves once they have a few clusters of tomatoes. So I don't expect so much from them. So I got 3 piles. So the one with the fun tomatoes that I show you, I will grow approximately maybe up to 3 seeds of each bag, up to 3-4 out of each and one of these, potentially up to 5. So to make sure that I actually getting some seeds, you know, to sprout and become plants. But I'm not using these in particular for production of large amounts of tomatoes. As well, the second pile I show you this type of use up the seeds but don't use so many seeds, you know, not expecting so much out of this, are these 2. So I think I might use 3 seeds from these and try and have at least 2 productive plants that potentially can get me a few clusters. But the most important pile I have here of tomatoes is the selection of tomatoes, like taller tomatoes, winter tomatoes, that I expect to get a bigger yield from, like a lot of tomatoes from. They are supposed to provide the bulk amount of tomatoes in terms of food, besides the ones that I already have started that are like these bushes of cherry tomatoes. So in this pile, these I will definitely grow at least 5 seeds out of. I still will have to consider that I at maximum wants to end up with 35 tall plants and not more. You know, it should not be out of control, but it should still be a lot, you know, because I got space for it. So in this pile, the most important pile out of these three, I will show you what I got. And I think one of my favorite seeds that I actually have is this, when it concerns like tall growing plants, is actually this Principal Borghese. It's like an Italian variety, and these are a winter tomato. So to be honest, you can leave them on the steam and just harvest the entire cluster in the end of the season. And I like this one. I tend to kind of pluck them anytime I see that they are kind of getting bigger, so that they don't steal energy from any other tomato fruit that is growing on the plant. And I take them indoor and I just let them ripe, such as in the kitchen somewhere, and then I can eat them just, you know, the weeks and months to come. So I very much like this one. They can really sustain, get ripe indoor in the late winter. This is one of my favorite varieties in terms of growing growing tomatoes in a greenhouse. And secondly, I have also this one, which is called, this one is a Polish type of variety. It's called Zloty Osarowski. And this one is also looking like greenhouse tomatoes. And these are also, why I like this variety is because you can harvest them even if they're green, take them indoor, let them get ripe just by the air temperature, and then you can use the plant itself to produce more tomatoes. So this one I definitely want to focus on this year. It's supposed to be kind of a hardy type of plant as well. Another one that I have is also like a Polish type of variety. This is not a tall plant, this is a bush hanging plant, so we will see. I think I'm gonna try and grow this one still in IKEA bag, and try and give it support to kind of climb over the bag or upwards. And this one is called Maskotka. So that is that. You can grow it in an ample. So these are, you know, it's possible to have them in smaller containers. And why I kind of like this tomato is because it does not require so much soil, in my opinion, because it's not going to grow super tall. It will grow like as a bush that can hang over or be upward, and it just can even grow in a pot and it's still going to produce tomatoes. So this one I very much like as well. And then I have, these are like freeland to grow out on the open space without greenhouse tomato. And why I like this one is just because it's supposed to give a lot of tomatoes, and it's kind of hardy tomatoes, and it, you know, it can grow like outdoor as well, so it's not super demanding in terms of what temperature there is, but it still obviously need to be around the same temperature as what is required. But I'm just saying that I think it's good to pick this type of variety for freeland if you have like a very cold area and you still gonna keep them in a greenhouse. But yeah, so I hope to get a lot of like produce from this variety. And then the last variety I have in this pile is it's this one. It's called Elisa Craig, and this one I think is why it's something I will try grow a lot of, is because this seed bag contains seeds for 50 plants, and you know, it's just good. And And this one can honestly grow indoor and outdoor, so it's also kind of versatile where it grows. And as you can see, it's supposed to get bigger types of tomatoes. And these, it says here on the package, I'm not too early starting these, if you might think so, even if I would probably think it's better to wait a little. But in my area, we have a shorter season, so I have to adapt to that as well. It says that it's possible to start these indoor in January, and I'm just gonna check if there is anything good to know here. Yeah, so just a good good sized tomato. So I got my 3 piles here. I also added here to this pile some more chili, and I think I'm on the last run for sowing chili because it's now end of January, so they're not gonna make it if I'm not planting them now. This is like the final call. If you're in an airport, they will say this is the final call for departure, and I will say this is the final call for chili in my area. So I have some more Lombardo chilies here, and I also got some Pupilla chili, which is, I think they're kind of small. Honestly, I think this one is cayenne pepper, but I don't mind. I like cayenne pepper. I have ordered, I think, real, like more of this Pupilla type of chili seeds, but they are still getting here in the post. So I'm gonna show you. I have so many fun plants and seed things that I have ordered that I will show you, because this year I have like, I will, by the way, start planting here. I have a lot of more exotic types of varieties I want to grow. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing before I get carried away with all these other things that I'm also gonna be planting. So I have, this is a Swedish candy container that I get for free from supermarkets in Sweden. These are great, and anytime I will go to the supermarket, now especially, I will pay attention to these if they are at the cashier point, because these are inexpensive, they doesn't cost anything, they are for free, and they're super good to grow anything in. And I didn't put a lot of soil here, just a tiny bit. I think it's approximately 3 centimeters of soil, and I kind of packed it just a little bit. It's not sowing soil, it's just planting soil. To be honest, tomatoes are very hardy, and they can easily just make their way into the soil. Sometimes you maybe have to help the bell peppers or chili seeds to kind of get them into the soil if it's very compact, if you're using planting soil. But mostly you will be fine. You know, you have to kind of trust nature as well. I know there's a lot of gardeners and stuff. They have their, you know, methods of using sowing soil and stuff. But I'm just gonna go with the inexpensive, because this is budget planting. Even if it's gonna get out of scale here in terms of budget, you know, because these are quite expensive plants to buy if you would buy them all. And you know, the funny thing is that anytime I have grown plants and I kept them out in the garden in summer, a lot of people who pass by, they will think that I put a lot of money buying you know, full-size plants and planting them out. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. It's just from seeds mostly. So the first container here, I think I'm going to let me have a little think here. I can also say something about chili, because these like to start with under heat, like some kind of heating that comes from the under, and therefore it's very good to not put so much soil when you're gonna start chili. You still have to make sure that it doesn't dry out, but you know, because then the heating that you putting underneath, if it's a heater attached to the wall, or if it's some kind of, you know, specific grow rug heating that you put underneath, it will be able to kind of penetrate the soil as well. So I think in this one I will start with my not so, you know, my kind of fun pile here. So I'm gonna take this tiger seeds, tiger tomatoes, and these honestly they're fun in a salad, and I have a lot of seeds here left, by the way, so I think I'm going to, this is a lot of seeds in this one. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think it's gonna get out of control here eventually, but these are honestly a fun present. So if you sowing, you might want to gift away some plants as well to somebody you know, and I think this is a very fun variety to give away. I'm gonna also make sure if, no, I can't see what year this one bag was purchased, but I think I'm just gonna sow around, I already put down 3 seeds in here and I have quite a few left here. I think I will sow, now I end up putting down 10 seeds here. I think that will be more than what I need. I think around 10 seeds will be fine here. We can, okay, we put down all of those that I had in my hand. So that was the tiger type of tomato. Then I also have this tiny Tim. So I will kind of make a little mark here where I have plant what, so that I would have a little clue, just kind of mark in the soil. I mean, it's only me who have to keep track. So the tiny Tim, this one I've grown a few years now, and I don't like this variety personally, but I know a lot of people do, who growing a lot. So I'm just gonna put a few of those seeds as well there. I put around 4, and I'm gonna see how many I have in here. I have, there is a lot. You know, I even have another bag of these seeds. So okay, I will put 6 of those. So if I want to keep track and count how many seeds this is now, it's already 16 potential plants in this one. Next, I will also put some of, let me have a look what year this one is, how long it's, oh, it doesn't say here. What, how strange. Okay, I'm just gonna open this one. I didn't see which year or how long this one is supposed to give plants or start seeds, you know. Let's see here. I think this is just a random cherry tomato type of tomato that grows tall. So all these tall tomatoes need support. This one doesn't have so many seeds in, so honestly it's kind of good. So I will put around, let's put around 4 of these seeds in here. Like that, 4. I think there was 18 seeds in here, so I can use this variety next year as well. And these seeds I will use next year as well. Then I want to kind of focus in around 10, 11 something seeds of this ponderosa. I know I said around 3, but you never know how many is gonna work. I would suggest, if you're on a budget in terms of buying seeds and planting, only put the smallest number of seeds that you think you need plants for, and maybe 1 extra seed. I, however, have some seeds here. This one is actually valid to use until 27, and it's 25 now, so I don't need to use so many of these. Actually, I think I'm gonna save this bag entirely and only use from this one, because this was honestly more expensive seeds. Let me have a look here. So I think I will, yeah, I know I said that I'm not gonna plant so many seeds, but you know, it's like I have a little bit extra seeds here that I can make use of. And I think I might going to give away some potentially. So for that purpose I also add some extra. You can also, like, you know, sell some seed plants to somebody you know, if you you know if you want to get back some of the money that you put on the seeds. Yeah, I think that will be fine. This whole bag is now empty. Jesus, I lost my seed. I think, oops. Okay, so this whole bag is now like empty, but I will put them back here just for now, and then I think I'm gonna put these seeds into the other bag. Yeah, so that is all I have in here, and now this one is done. So I have my pressure sprayer, which I just go over very lightly on the top here to get around the seeds with water. And again, I don't cover these tomato seeds. They are enough tiny to actually be without cover. No vermiculite and nothing. Just let them, you know, get sprouted by the force from the light. I have extra light when I grow tomatoes because I feel like that kind of kicks them going, or gets them going in terms of sprouting. And I will cover up here with some plastic so it will remain moist. And I'm using the lid, by the way, as a tray here. So the most important thing for me is to keep track on. That was the fun tomato varieties. And it's kind of good for yourself to label what you are planting so that you have an idea, because it's not fun to forget. So in this second container here, I'm gonna go ahead, add a little bit more water here. You know, some people may wonder, do I clean these containers from year to year if I'm using the same containers? And unless I have had some kind of pest, I will not do that necessarily, because I think some of the pest, because I keep these containers outdoor in, like, it can get down to -30 in the winter time. So I feel like most of the pest in my area kind of dies in the winter just by naturally. And I have these out in the, you know, out to storage placement. So I have never experienced that the container themselves gives pest if I don't wash them when I'm using them the next time. But if I have containers stored indoor, those are more prone to actually contain pests because they haven't had any, you know, cold weather that kind of kills them off. Those I maybe would wash, to be honest. And in this container last year I had fennel, sweet fennel. So I'm going to, I think I'm gonna start now with the productive tomato pile here that I've got, and then I will pop in some of those, you know, not so important seeds. Potentially I might gonna put these seeds into the other container, but we will see. So the most important here that I want to fit in this container is this Principal Borghese. This is, as I said, one of my favorite tomato variety, and I have a backup bag of this in my kind of collection here. So I'm not afraid to run out when I'm doing this now. So we're gonna see here. Oh, perfect amount here. I will use all what is remaining in this bag. We're gonna see here if I can get any. It's very important to make sure that you really took out all the seeds, because some of the seeds get stuck here in the lining of the package. So I think I have around here 10-11 seeds, which is perfect. So I will put them on one side of the tray here and just plant them. You know, tomatoes you can sort of plant pretty close to each other when you're starting them from seeds. They are not so picky. I think it's very easy to grow tomatoes. Secondly, I will probably take this one, which is the Freeland tomato variety. And in here I got a lot of tomato seeds. So I'm just gonna put them as well here. A little bit in the center. Some of those. And then I will go on with the Polish variety called, or no, I will not take that one. I will place these two varieties close to each other. I'm gonna take this Elisa variety, and comes in a small bag. So let's see here. I think I'm gonna fit everything in this container, even if it's a lot of varieties that I'm starting up here. So I'm planting them on the other side here. I put them quite closely so that I will fit all these tomatoes here. So and so. I think that is enough. This bag contained 50 seeds or up to 50 plants, so you know, I'm not going to use the entire bag. And then I will take this sloppy. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing because I don't. There was one seed in there. And this one comes in a see-through plastic bag. So I think I will take I will not even take all of these seeds. I will take, like, you know, a few. So I will have as well for next year this variety. Or if I need to restart in this year for some reason, if something happens here. So I can take one more, just those. Oh. So then I have still seeds there. And now I have 3 or a few more varieties left. I got this one. This one is honestly a little bit different in its growing way. So I'm gonna try and mark here in the container, just make a little corner for this specific variety, because it kind of grows like a bush that hangs over and it can be placed in an ample. So the other ones grow tall. I just hope I will have honestly one more greenhouse this year for accommodating a lot of the plants, because I have citrus trees. Have quite a few citrus trees in a collection, and I also have actually ordered some olive trees, but those are very small plants. But I think, is this bag? Okay, this bag was not super to open here. So yeah, I mean, this doesn't look like a lot here, but as these get growing, it's gonna be a lot here. So I take around, I think around 5-6 of these Mascotka, just because it has a different kind of way of growing, and I don't think I need more of this. So I have some seeds left there that I can use next year. That was that. Just gonna put them in there. And then I also have the chili varieties, and I still have these two varieties. I think I'm gonna put these two varieties maybe in the other container, we will see. But these chili varieties, I'm thinking if it will be a good idea to put them in here at all, because gonna see here. This one have more space. I think I'm gonna put the chili in this first container here. So just a few more of those, because chilies and tomatoes likes to kind of grow together. So I just put some of those seeds as well in there. And if you have like cayenne peppers, like the actual fruit of them, you can take the seeds from them, and that's what I have done. And those seeds do work to grow. Not maybe if they're, you know, F1 varieties, but if they are like, you know, other ones. So I put this one, this container is gonna have a lot of plants in, a lot of small plants. So almost finished here. Do you need to have this? Honestly, somebody's gonna say, do you need to have this many varieties when you talking about budget planting? No, you do not. Honestly, this is kind of, I know that I talk about budget planting here, but I think it's still budget, because I kind of accumulate the seeds over time, and I tend to use them also within the span of when they can actually sprout. But the method itself here with the containers, the seeds and the whole stuff, that is like budget friendly. But yes, you do not need this many varieties. But I don't use any pesticides in my area, so I kind of want to have different varieties of, especially like tomatoes or bell peppers, because if one variety is not doing well for some reason in my area, or get like attacked by some form of pesticide, then hopefully some of the other varieties, and the fact that I'm mixing varieties and growing them in the greenhouse, kind of will help to keep the pesticides away. So that might be a reason, and also because it's fun to use different varieties. So I will use the final amount of this here, and I think there are only like 3 seeds left here. So let's see if I can get these seeds out and have them planted here. I put these in the fun container now, because these are seeds that I don't have so many left of. So getting all the remainings out. That was all. Make sure that there is nothing left. And then I had some balcony varieties, and I was thinking which container I will put them in. I would like to show you also a little bit what it looks like. You can see the seeds in there. There's a lot of seeds in here. Probably in each and one of these containers at this point there are around 40 plants, like 40 plants in each of these 2 containers. So it could get a lot of plants, up to 80 plants I would say. And I want to have around 35. I mean, I have a lot of space, to be honest, to grow plants here, so I'm not super worried if it gets a lot. Plus I will give away maybe some. These ones I just put them a little bit here and there and here. And I can tell, okay, this one is kind of old seeds, so I'm just going to use what is left here. There's like one more left here. If you have some older, you know, seed, that this one is supposed to be used until 2023, then I'm probably gonna use up the entire seed bag. So, and again, just pressure spraying. I really cannot recommend enough you to get a pressure spraying bottle, because this, to kind of water this many plants, it's just hazard and a lot of work if you do not have this pressure canning. It's just not pressure canning, pressure sprayer. So I think definitely good if you're gonna plant anything. So now I'm finished with this. I'm gonna put away everything. I'm gonna cover this with plastic so that they stay moist, and I will place these close to a heater and a little bit close to where I have also lamp. So I'm using these long just lamps for some form of light. I think it's around at least 2000 lumen. I think around 2000 lumen. I know that if you're gonna really get bigger plants, you need to have more lumen. I think like what representing the daylight outside. But for your starting seeds, you can use a little bit less lumen. So that is that, and I'm probably will having to repot all these in middle of February. So that is when I will be having a lot more work to do, in terms of these tall growing tomatoes.